Hey there, my name is Alejandro. Welcome back for day 333 of me doing Daily LeetCode challenge at least 1 year's worth of contributions here on GitHub. So today's from is for June 14, 2025. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. Okay, let's see. Alright, today we get LeetCode easy. Okay, quite nice. Problem 2566, maximum difference by remapping a digit. This is a maximization problem, which is an optimization problem, which means we're probably going to need dynamic programming, greedy, or divide and conquer. Let's see. You're given an integer num. You know that Bob will sneakily remap the one of 10 possible digits, 0 to 9, to another digit. Return the difference between the maximum num and minimum values Bob can make by remapping exactly one digit in num. What the hell? Okay. Okay. So just make it the biggest num you possibly can. Yeah. Okay. This is going to be easy. Whatever the first digit is. Okay, when Bob remaps a digit, all occurrences of D1 and num with D2. We have different digits for obtaining minimum and maximum values. Okay. Yeah, so the idea is just going to be to make the largest number, look at the most significant, first most significant that is not a 9. Then that digit and all of its other occurrences become 9s. To make smallest number, look at first digit that is not a 0. Then wait. Can the number start with zeros? No. Add significant digit, make it outside other occurrences. So here we're going to say string num is equal to stir of num. Is there a first function? Next of and for digit in stir num if to replace doesn't equal 9. Max num is equal to int of string.join if else 9 for digit in stir num. And we'll say digit to replace is equal to stir num of 0 min num is equal to this, and then return max num minus min num, something like that. Is that all that's needed? Wrong answer. I'll put 0. Digit to replace equals. 0.
form.
Else 0. That's my problem. Yep, accept it. Let's submit. Yeah. Can we do default equals 9? Is that a thing? Okay. Digit to replace is none else, or digit and str none doesn't equal 9. Place equals digits and break. There we go. Sweet. And there we go. Bada bing, bada boom. Completion streak 333 days. Consistency is key. See ya tomorrow. 0 mass beats 100% of submissions. Okay, so nevertheless, as always on my videos that are a quick recap of visual style prompts. For this one, it's quite rather straightforward. Basically, you're given an integer num, and Bob is essentially able to replace one of the digits. So what does that mean? If you have a number like 11891, let's say Bob wants to replace all the map. So Bob can pick any digit between 0 to 9 and map them to any other digit that he wants. So for example, if he wanted to map the ones in this equation to 5s, then he could, which means that the new number would become 55895 because he mapped all the ones into 5s. So Bob is essentially able to replace the one of the digits with another and all instances of that digit inside of the number. And essentially what this problem asks you is, like, given this power that Bob has, find the maximum number he can construct, find the smallest number he can construct, and take their difference, right? Return the difference between max and minimum values Bob can make by remapping exactly one digit in num. So what I did is I'm basically like, okay, let's think about how do we want to make the maximum number. Well, what's going to matter is the leading digit, right? We want to make it a 9. We want to make the leading digit a 9 because it's going to be what allows us to make the biggest possible number possible, right? Anything else can only be worse. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the first not 9 occurrence inside of num as a string. So the very first thing I do is make num a string. So now if the number was something like 911,891, then if I remap 9s to 9s, it doesn't make anything, right? So if the number starts with a 9, then we don't want to replace 9 with 9s. It doesn't make sense. So we look for the first not 9 digit, right? In this case, this one is a 9, but this one would be a 1, so therefore we would change these to 9s, right? Even if this is an 8 and you have a bunch of 1s, it's much better to turn this into 9, 9 and a bunch of 1s than it is to keep it as 9, 8 and then change all the 1s into 9s, right? This number is bigger than this number. So that's why we look for the first non-9 digit and make it all 9s, right? So that's exactly what we do for the biggest number. I'm going to say, okay, I don't know what digit to replace yet, but we're going to go through the digits in order that they are inside of num, right? So we convert num into a string and then go from left to right. So it'll be most significant digits to least significant digits. And if the digit is not a 9, then we know that's the one we want to replace. So digit to replace is equal to the digit and break. And then our maximum number will be equal to num if digit to replace is none. Digit to replace is none if and only if every single digit in num was a 9, in which case you don't need to replace anything anyways. Otherwise, the digit to replace is not none. There was at least some not 9 digit inside of num, which is most likely going to be the case. Then we're going to essentially go take all the digits in num. So we're going to do string.join digit for digit in str num. But we're not going to just do digit. We're going to do digit if the digit is not equal to the digit to replace, because if it is equal to the digit to replace, we're going to replace it with a 9, right? We're going to replace the first not 9 digit that we saw and all of its instances into 9s. So we're going to do string.join digit if digit doesn't equal the digit to replace. Otherwise, replace it with the character 9 for every single digit in str num, right? String.join that bad boy, convert it to an integer, and that will be our the maximum num. Now, for the smallest possible number, what we want to do is just look at the very first digit and turn it into a 0, right? Again, just like we wanted to increment the most significant digit, now we're going to try to make it as small as possible. So we're literally just going to look at what is the very first digit inside of the number. It's going to be non-zero, right? Because we're given an actual integer here. So when we convert it to a string, we know the very first digit is not going to be a 0. And then we're going to do the same thing, right? We're going to string.join digit if digit doesn't equal digit to replace. Otherwise, replace it with a 0 to make the number as small as possible for each digit in str num, with the digit to replace being the very first digit, because we want to replace that one to make the number as small as possible. Then once we have done that, we just return the maximum number minus the minimum number that we computed, and there we go, bada bing, bada boom. We have a nice working and efficient solution. And yeah, but otherwise, that's pretty much it for this video. If you did find it useful, enjoyable in any way, shape, or form, I'd highly appreciate if you left a like or a comment. Otherwise, I'll catch you next one. So till then, ciao, ciao, my friend. Bye-bye.